Are we 25 days away from running out of diesel? Here's one. Here's a great conspiracy theory. There's this idea now being pushed by some media outlets that we're 25 days away from running out of diesel. And this is something that I was really concerned about, because I thought to myself, if we're 25 days away from running out of diesel, I can't drive half my cars. Can't drive my most fuel efficient cars. Then I can't drive the cars that, some of the cars I'm sorting out, because we work in a lot of diesels. Well, thankfully, I did some research, which is not something I have a lot of time to do, but I learned that this is not a real thing we should be afraid of. Now, if the first national news outlet to push this was Tucker Carlson, which you have to take Tucker with a grain of salt. I mean, some of his commentary is really funny. Some of it is really outlandish. I'm pretty sure he gets paid good money to get people's pulses up, which is why I don't watch the news, any of the news. I just don't. But I looked into this issue. And so if they had phrased this headline honestly, what they should have said was, if the United States were to stop producing diesel, we would be 25 days away from running out of diesel. It means we have 25 days of diesel reserves left. So here's why we're so low on our diesel reserves. Number one, because during the end of the year, most refineries shut down and operate on limited capacity so that they can maintain their plants. Now, during the Trump administration, I don't think that we ever got this low. We know that Trump's energy policy was better. If you think that it wasn't better, then you're crazy. It's just the truth. I'm not saying this because I'm some ridiculous Trump supporter. It's just, if your energy policy is working, it's pretty much proven when fuel drops below $3 per gallon or even $2 per gallon. But, I understand that we have a global fuel shortage because of Russia and sanctions against Russia and sanctions against Venezuela. And all those things are not great, but as people of the United States, there's not much we can do about them besides find ways to get to work more efficiently and carpool and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And so the whole idea of a diesel shortage piqued my interest, because I thought to myself, what if we did only have 25 days of diesel left? So because refining capacity is down and because petroleum supplies are limited, we're still going to be making diesel. We're probably going to hover somewhere between the 15 and 30 day mark, but that's not a real problem. But if it was a real problem, I'm going to give you guys 3 ideas about what can be done if you drive a diesel engine vehicle, not just a classic Mercedes, but any diesel engine vehicle. Step 1, biodiesel. Biodiesel is always being made in the United States. It's not imported from other countries. It's not petroleum dependent. And there are a lot of stations that sell B99. And any classic Mercedes is B99 compatible. You may have to change some hoses. You can use the latest R230 part number of 7.5 millimeter fuel hose, the newest 605 number for fuel injector return hose, and replace any other hoses on the car if they're a gazillion years old and they're going to fail anyway. But you can use B99 in your classic Mercedes. Don't use vegetable oil. It's not on my list of things that I think you should do. One of the reasons that I think that biodiesel is a good alternative is because the stations that sell it are not well advertised. Down in Melbourne, we have Glover Oil. It's not even on the USGS biodiesel sales website. So there's not really a database you can look at, but if you Google the term, I don't know, maybe biodiesel near me, you should be able to find it. And if it's really far away, a lot of these places will deliver a 55-gallon drum to you, or 2 or 3 or 4. You may have to use your credit card or something to build up your fuel reserve, but there is one suggestion. Number 2, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but you also have some other alternatives. You have Jet A, so you could get Jet A at some airports, And jet A needs lubrication. So if you get jet fuel A and choose to fill up your tank, which is like $6 a gallon and change right now, maybe a little more, you can add something like diesel clean or liquimoly diesel additive, something to get the lubricity up, because jet A is not as viscous as diesel. So you need to get the lubricity way up. But by putting these additives in, you will get the cetane under control into the 40, 41 range where your Mercedes will run very happily. And this is this is a real asset. Now, number three, number three is a little bit more of a sort of fringe kind of idea, but I know that in certain states you can get agricultural diesel, and you're really not supposed to do this. Okay, this is totally illegal, but let's say it's do or die. Agricultural diesel supplies are different. They're produced differently and manufactured under different refining conditions, just like marine diesel is. And there's another alternative too. If you're like me and you live near an ocean, these supplies tend to stick around longer. These fuels need a fuel water separator, and for ag diesel, you need to have an agricultural license. But you'd be amazed at how easy it is in certain states like Florida to get an agricultural license or to apply for an agricultural license. So I'm not saying you should do this legally. I'm just saying that if you really can't get diesel and they're allocating diesel towards agricultural purposes only, and they were to ration it heavily, there's one alternative. It's the same thing for marine diesels. A lot of shipyards carry marine diesel, but you must have a fuel water separator. Now, we know that Mercedes diesel engines can run on some really low quality fuel. You have to get the water out. You have to put fuel additives in like diesel clean or power service. But if you do those things, then typically you will be able to get by on those types of fuels. Just don't think you're going to be boosting your car to maximum boost all the time if you have a turbo diesel engine. So these are just some suggestions on what to do if they were to ever run out of diesel. I don't ever want that to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. Hopefully everything goes right in our midterms and we end up with a more balanced government, because remember, extreme governments often don't make progress like they're expected to. It's balanced government that I think generates the best energy policy. And I hope we see that on November 8th. I hope we see some balance and some fairness. So we're gonna wait and see what happens. But in the meantime, don't give up. Keep driving your diesel car. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tap the bell for notifications, and enjoy driving your classic Mercedes.